get to it. So here are the questions that I got from people that they were left with. First one was from Amber, which is, how do I prioritize my 8 gazillion ideas? I have so many ideas. I know the feeling. It's overwhelming. There's so many possibilities of what we could do. So there are a few thoughts. One, I just can't recommend this highly enough to everybody. Get a stack of index cards. On each index card, write down an idea. And then you have a big pile of these ideas. Get a blank table on the floor and just start laying them down. Start organizing them in piles with each other. That's one way to do it. So you can put them in groups of similar ideas. But the other thing you can do is you can start making piles for things I'm going to deal with this year, 2 years from now, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. Maybe a pile of who knows if I'll ever get to it. So you can start to organize them like that. That putting it in a chronological way can take so much of the pressure away, because I think the big stress that comes with ideas is the feeling I have to do something right away about this. The third thing that I recommend doing, so one, you can organize them by the type of project, 2, by the time frame, but third, make sure you've got a notebook or a note on your phone or Google Docs where whenever you have ideas on these specific projects, there's a place where you can put that stuff. That's so important, because sometimes, again, what starts to happen is we start to feel full because I have all these ideas. I have to do something about them right now because I can't keep track of the ideas. So to release the pressure, I feel like I actually have to do the project. No, you don't have to do the project. You just have to write the idea down. And then you just have to write your more ideas down underneath it, Sometimes that alone deals with the buildup of pressure that we feel. Then when it comes time to do the project, you've got so many ideas already written. A number of my ebooks were written in that way. I just kept notes. Of course, I felt the pressure to do the ebook right away, but I just couldn't seem to fit it in. So I just satisfied myself with having a place I'd put notes. And when it came time to write it, I went back to those notes and I organized them. And then there you go. And here's some more thoughts. Let's say you go with at some point, I would do a timeline of the ideas. Even if you organize them into like projects, start to map out a timeline. What are you going to do when? And then you take the ones for this year and start to subdivide it into what are you going to do this quarter, second quarter, third quarter, next quarter. Yeah, over the next 4 quarters, you can divide them up into those piles. And then you take the ones from this quarter, and that's all you focus on. You think, okay, how do I make these things happen this quarter? And then you'll have some left over for next quarter, but just index cards, really. If that's, I use a program called Things, culturedcode.com. Can't recommend it highly enough. But you do need some system to organize your ideas, because otherwise they will just drown you. So don't let them drown you. Get them written down and organize them so that they're somewhere. Because I think so much of the panic is I'm going to forget. Well, yeah, if you don't write it down, you will. Or even better said, if you write it down, you can forget about it because you know that the piece of paper is going to be remembering for you. But here's 2 more pieces. 1, it's worth looking at every single one of these, especially ones where you feel on the fence, that it's not a clear yes for you. You take a look at it and ask yourself this question. If I were to hear that somebody else had taken this idea and run with it, would I feel bitter or would I feel relieved? Would I feel envious and jealous of them and I wish it had been me, or would I just say, thank God somebody else is doing it? Because if you feel relieved, that's not your idea. That's not for you. That's just for the world. And somebody else picked it up, and thank God. Another big thing to ask when you're looking at these ideas, because as soon as we're talking about ideas, we're starting to talk about structure and offerings and business model. So there are 4 S's that we want to be thinking about. The first is this idea sustainable, or would it be a part of a sustainable ecosystem? Number 2, There's the safety thing. Is there a safe way that people could check this out? As a business model, it's a good question to ask. Third, is this going to be satisfying? Like, do I really want to do this? Is doing this going to give me the lifestyle that I want to have or take me further from the lifestyle I want to have? But the big one is this. Is this simple? And another way to say it, is it repeatable? Could you do this one over and over and over again and be happy with it? Because from a business model standpoint, long-term for your sustainability, this is what we want, repeatable things. I have 4 6-week programs I do every year, 4. And it's the same 4 I've done for years. Meantime, point of view marketing, new one I'm adding, business model, and hub marketing. Also, once a quarter, I do my Marketing for Hippies one-on-one workshop. And that's about it. I mean, there's a few other programs I throw in from time to time, but if an idea isn't repeatable, that means you're going to have to come up with a new idea to make money. Every idea, well, that's going to be some sort of a write-up and a sales letter. You're going to have to come up with some curriculum for it. There's a lot of work to create it, but to reuse it, that's less work. So that's one of the criteria I'd have in mind. There's lots of ideas that are exciting as a one-off, but to do something just one time, that's the most expensive time. It's going to be the worst version because you're going to be learning. The 10th time you do something, no comparison to the first. It's going to be better. It'll be more satisfying. And it's going to be easier for you because you'll have all the systems down. You'll have worked out the major blunders by the 10th time. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, you have a gazillion ideas, those are my thoughts. Amber, I hope that helps. And for those of you watching, I hope this helps as well.